It's quite clear, very little to explain also. Helping others physically by his English is really very complicated. When we feel that we should write according to, but the according here means accordance, like, So helping others physically by removing their physical needs is indeed great. But the help is great according means the greatest, you could say, as the need is greater and as the help is far reaching. So the most need you could, help somebody to fulfill, and also very far reaching. It should not be like, I gave today one meal and that person will sleep tonight very peacefully. But then he has given the example that that is the least help that we can give. So spiritual knowledge is the only thing that can destroy our miseries forever. And see, any other knowledge will satisfy only for little time. Okay, here he has distinguished between secular knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Worldly knowledge, like being a teacher or training and giving different trainings, and your boss and all these people who teach you something in life, teachers, even parents who teach you that do this, don't do that, study this, don't. All this is not far reaching. The last, that the best one is the spiritual knowledge which is given. Okay. So helping man spiritually is the highest help that can be given to him. Okay. Then he who gives man spiritual knowledge is the greatest benefactor of mankind. And as such, we always find that those were the most powerful of men who help man in his spiritual needs, because spirituality is the true basis of all activities in life. And this is to be highlighted, because all our activities in our life, whatever we are doing, if the base is spirituality, as I said, whether you are a grahastha, whether you are a sannyasi, it really doesn't matter if your base is spiritual. So you need to make your base powerful, and that power comes with spiritual knowledge and spiritual exposure, any kind of exposure. But then you have to work on it. It's not like I went, I heard some satsang and I enjoyed it, and then I forgot about it. Like we are having karma yoga only Wednesday. So doesn't mean that rest of the days we are not into spiritual knowledge. If you're not practicing what you learn and putting it into practice by abhyasa, then it's a waste. Whereas it is the highest knowledge that could have been received through Swami Vivekananda. The true basis of all activities of our life is the spiritual knowledge. So it's the most important, directly. A spiritually strong and sound man will be strong in every other respect. Okay? If he so wishes, like wherever he wants, this person can be powerful if they have that spiritual strength or the background or the abhyasa. Then until there is spiritual strength in man, even physical needs cannot be well satisfied. Why? We see, I am earning money, I am getting this, and I am satisfied today, but tomorrow again I am sad. So then the sukha, dukha continues. I'm working hard, I'm earning money. All those of us who have reached 45, 50, don't we know that even with a lot of money, we still have our struggles and sadness and depressions and ups and downs? That's what he's saying. Until there is spiritual strength in man, even physical needs cannot be well satisfied. So the spiritual strength is absolutely important, and sukha dukha can come and go. Swami Vivekananda himself, you all should watch the documentary actually of Swami Vivekananda. He went through so much. You already watched, I think. Sri Vaishnava is nodding his head. You watched? Okay. Because he went through hunger. There was no food for the family. And somebody got to know, they brought some food, and Swami Vivekananda wanted his mother and brothers and everybody to eat. So he said, I'm not hungry, I already ate. And this is the level of sacrifice and the struggle he went through. He went and told Ramakrishna also that, no, I don't have food. Then he said, okay, go and ask Kali. Get to the temple and ask her for food, go. She will give you anything. And then he goes in, and then once he goes into that deep sensations and feelings, samadhi, and he forgets and he comes out. And Ramakrishna asks, did you ask Ma for food and all for the family? And so he said, oh, I forgot. He's hungry, but he forgot. So then he says, what are you doing? Go again. Ma will give you, go again. So again he sent 2-3 times, and then he says, I can't. When I go inside and I see the Divine Mother in her energy, I go into meditation and I forget what I was supposed to ask. So then Ramakrishna blesses him, saying that, don't worry, the basic food you will always receive for your family and you both. This is the blessing. Post which, of course, then he becomes famous and all that is later on. But this is the initial struggle where he's studying. He's into his post-grad. He's studying at that time. And his father passes away with a lot of debts in the business, lot of losses, and he has to do all that. And he was studying. So it's this voice is of a very powerful man who has gone through a hunger, poverty, struggle, and everything. So that's why this person, when he says, until there is spiritual strength, even physical needs cannot be well satisfied, it comes from a very powerful space. Then he says, next to spiritual. So first, the highest help is spiritual. Next is intellectual help. Like I was saying in some session that if you want to donate, please don't go and put money in those temples. They are so rich, those temples and that. Please give money to educational institutions, or just for educating your maid son or child, or any child. Sponsor children for education. That would be a great help. Okay. And the gift of knowledge is far a higher gift than that of food and clothes. We will generally give this help. Like we will give them food, we'll give them clothes. But if you can afford to, instead of that, just pay 1 year's fees for that child. It would be, or buy some books for the year, or, that's more important. Then ignorance is death. Very clearly, knowledge is life. So why is ignorance death? We feel, we could all be ignorant and we all are living. Definitely we are not dead. But are we even living? Are we even living, or are we just mechanically conducting ourselves and moving every day towards death? How aware are we? So these are the things. That's why he says the one who is ignorant is anyway dead. So it really doesn't matter. He comes up very strongly, okay? Life is of very little value if it is a life in the dark, groping through ignorance and misery. Now, here comes the most important thing. Very clearly, he's pushing everybody into the spiritual path. Because one who is not on the spiritual path is 100% ignorant. Could be the PhD holder, or God knows how many degrees they got. But without spiritual knowledge, this person is considered ignorant, and definitely misery is part of their life. Even if they're very, very rich, misery is part of. That's how the richest and the most successful people end up committing suicide. Because they don't know what else to do. They're depressed. So that is why he says, all these sentences, ignorance is death, knowledge is life. Life is of little value if it is a life in the dark. Dark in the sense without spiritual knowledge. And groping, struggling through ignorance and misery. So spiritual knowledge is the highest knowledge. Next in order, of course, comes helping a man physically. So spiritual, next is intellectually. At least we should push them, like study this, do something, come up in life, polish their intellect, and then push them finally towards spirituality, if it's possible. Because many would resist, like, no, not spirituality. We are so happy, we are earning so much money, we don't want to get into this. Possible. But still, he says they will end up groping in the dark eventually. But imagine those who are not even educated. It is so tough, because for them life is a misery. So then I always suggest that even if you can't follow the spiritual path, at least learn and study and, get more educated, and then eventually you will fall into this path. Eventually. And of course, the last order comes helping a man physically. Therefore, in considering the question of helping others, we must strive not to commit the mistake of thinking that physical help is the only help that can be given. Okay. Now, under no circumstance are we supposed to feel that I was giving food and clothes to my maid's children, I will stop that. No. Do that. If you can do something better, please do that. Okay, like giving for the education and stuff like that also. Don't, he says more than that what you can give. Do not to commit the mistake of thinking that physical help is the only help that can be given. No, that's what. There are ways to help: educating children, orphans, sponsoring 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, depending on the money you have, paying for their education, full years, maybe until they get into a degree. This is the commitment we need to take if we are into Grahastha. Don't consider that, every year I am giving food and clothes, bas ho gaya. No, if you can give more, give. That's what he is saying. It is not only the last, but the least, because it cannot bring about permanent satisfaction. So what will give permanent satisfaction is spiritual knowledge. But then each is own. Wherever you are, whatever you can serve, serve. Then the misery that I feel when I am hungry is satisfied by eating, but hunger returns. My misery can cease only when I am satisfied beyond all want. And this satisfaction will come only with spiritual knowledge. Then hunger will not make me miserable. No distress, no sorrow will be able to move me. See, this sentence cannot be said by me also, because I've never been hungry. I don't know what is hunger. I've not reached to that level of poverty in my life where I had no food. I don't know what it is. But Swami Vivekananda, that could be true for all of us. But Swami Vivekananda, when he says this sentence, he has been through hunger. And still he says that then hunger will not make me miserable. No distress, no sorrow will be able to move me. When? When I'm when I have the spiritual knowledge, or when I'm walking on the path. Okay, so that help which tends to make us strong spiritually is the highest. Next to it, intellectual, and after that, physical help. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 in gradation. Now, who wants to read?